Hi guys, happy Sunday. We have literally made it to the third Sunday in September, the penultimate Sunday, right? And today also marks the beginning of fall. Now, here's the thing, with spring, you get renewal. With summer, you get enjoyment and happiness. And I believe that with fall, it's the time to show gratitude. And that's what today's coffee hour is going to be about today. Now, Self-Care Sunday is progressing as it normally does, and we're going to have our little coffee or tea for you if you like, or if you don't drink nothing, that's also fine. Moment right now. I find that I'm using 3 teaspoons to make my coffee now. I feel like I'm becoming perhaps an addict. Who said that? Who said that? It's probably true. But that doesn't also mean that also means that I'm using more coffee and I'm spending more money and I'm finishing the coffee quicker and it's no fun, right? As I said before, fall is about showing gratitude. For all the things in my life I can complain about, I must say that even growing up poor, because I refuse to say I grew up in poverty, I don't believe I did, having the understanding that you don't have as much as others does not mean that you're in poverty. It may have just meant that at the time you were poor. And I would like to think of myself as poor. But for what I want to show gratitude for is number one, my upbringing. I was raised by a grandmother who loved me dearly, dearly. I would like to show gratitude for the privilege of having her in my life. I'd like to show gratitude for the privilege of having my mother in my life. My mother was the one who took care of me financially. She was the one who decided when I finished high school that, see, I'm using the Morton salt now. I was going to go straight into nursing school and not go to work because I remember her saying, if she start work, then she's not going to want to stop working. Zine. And so I had the privilege of going to a prominent high school in Jamaica, Westwood High School for Girls. I had the privilege of sitting out a year because I was too young to start nursing school, so I went to Knox College in Mandeville. I had the privilege of having a beautiful sister who allowed me to come and stay with her while I was in Mandeville and became a true support system for me during that time of transition. I had the privilege of entering nursing school at 17 years old, Kingston School of Nursing on Half a Tree Road in Jamaica, Jamaica's premier nursing school and one of the best. Now, no dig, no sass to any of the other nursing institutions in Jamaica, but everybody can admit it. KSN was the school. Yeah. And I had the privilege to be a part of the last batch of nurses who graduated from Kingston School of Nursing in 2009. I had the privilege of working at National Chess. That was some of my formative years in nursing who taught me, those years taught me compassion. Those years taught me work ethic. Those years introduced me to a caliber of nurses, a cadre of nurses who were so strong in their profession, dominant, didn't take sass from a doctor or a patient because patient care was always important. I had the privilege of, in 2014, being able to go and do the OR program. And that's where I found my love for the operating room. I had the privilege of, in 2015, getting a job in Bermuda. And I spent 8.5 years working in Bermuda. And that was my foray into kind of first world nursing and technology-based nursing. And I'm so privileged for that. I had the privilege in 2023 when I decided that, I probably need to pivot now to do something different, to explore something else. In 2022, I started my master's in nursing informatics, well, healthcare informatics, and that was a privilege. And I was able to do it without taking a loan. Thank you, Bermuda. I had the privilege of, while going to school, I was able to purchase my first apartment. I had the privilege of going to all the carnivals, having all the fun that I want to have. And then I transitioned over into these United States, and that in itself is also a privilege. I had the privilege of choosing Connecticut, which is a union-based state, and it is not necessarily a blue state, but is a lot less stringent than other states. Let's leave that right there. I have the privilege and opportunity to travel whenever I want. I have the privilege of living in a 2-bedroom apartment by myself, relatively comfortably. I have the privilege of owning a car. And aside from my mortgage, my rent, and my car note payment, I have no debt. And that in itself is a privilege. I have worked multiple hours on this job. Even this morning, before I started making this video, they were calling me to ask me to come in, but I politely declined. Not on a Sunday. Perfect. You know what I didn't add? So I use this gingerbread limited edition oat milk creamer, and I'm supposed to add some ground ginger as well to kind of heighten the oat milk creamer flavor. So let's try it with the ginger now. Yeah, I had the privilege of having all of these experiences. I have not suffered as much as most people have. For the most part, my suffering has been self-inflicted, and not in a physical way, it's more mentally as I try to traverse each new path that I go down. I have the privilege of having a friend group who understands me. I have the privilege of family members who I'm genuinely close to. I'm not close with everybody in my family, but it's also a privilege when you have people who you can call on. And for as much as I'm going through tests and trials and tribulations, and we're all living through this very horrid time in history, it's always easier to see the negatives that are happening than the positives, right? But today, on the second to last Sunday in September, I am not choosing to be negative. I am greeting today with gratitude. The privileges I've had. I am so grateful that I'm having this experience on this adventure that I call life. And for all of fall, the aim is to just be grateful for the space that I'm in. In the interim, I implore you all to do the same. I know life is hard. We are all struggling. Some of us make it look easier than others. Some of us have it a little bit harder than others too. But in all things, we can give thanks. We can be grateful. We can look at the list of privileges versus the list of negatives that are happening to us. The world needs us all to be grateful human beings, and we'll never get it from everybody. But us in our little small world, in our little small ways, we can always show a little bit of gratitude. And for all of you watching my long video today, if you've got to this point, I'd like to let you know that I'm also very grateful for you. Thank you for sticking with me. And for all of you who also enjoy my Self-Care Sunday rants or Sunday sermons, thank you as well. I hope you have a beautiful Sunday, and I hope you find at least 1 or 2 things to be grateful for today. Happy Sunday. I can enjoy the little coffee now while showing my gratitude.